Hello. So I'm here to talk about BodyTalk and BodyTalk Access. BodyTalk is a protocol that allows the practitioner to tap into what we call the innate wisdom, which is the natural healing capacity of the body. We use biofeedback, which is a way of communicating with the body via signals that the body is communicating to the practitioner, and by doing so we are able to establish what we call the priority, which is what parts of the body-mind system have come out of balance, creating instability. That instability can reflect itself as an inability to deal with stress. It could be disease. It could also be anything that happens in an emergency crisis. The difference between BodyTalk Access and BodyTalk is that with the Access program, you don't actually have to use the biofeedback mechanism and establish those links of imbalance within the body. Instead, it's a protocol of 5 techniques that are taken from the main body of BodyTalk, and you do those as a daily program to help reestablish some balance within the body in its ability to deal with stress, in its ability to have the immune system be more responsive to outside threats, to bring balance to the musculoskeletal system, and to deal with stress on a daily basis is the main way to stay healthy, actually, because anytime that your stress response is active, your immune system is shut down. The main things that we use in BodyTalk Access are tapping and breathing, and particular hand positions. With tapping, what we're doing is we're tapping on top of the head, and this is giving a signal to the brain that it needs to pay attention to the intention of what the linking priority is. In the case of the Cortices technique, we're going to be connecting 2 hemispheres of the brain together, and what we're telling the brain is that pay attention to the fact that we're going to be establishing a connection between both hemispheres of the brain. The other thing is the breathing. Breathing actually connects the body-mind system, the brain to the body. It is the facilitator of the brain coming into balance and sending that balance in the way that it needs to down into the body so that it can reflect what's happening in the brain. The first thing I'm going to show you is the Access Cortices technique and the hand position. Now the hand should be held together with the fingers like this, and what we're going to be doing is incrementally moving the hand along the skull, and we're going to be establishing the connection from one hemisphere of the brain to the other over the midline. Okay? So we're going to start with the occipital region. This is the back of the head right here, and we're going to be placing our hand right over the area where the skull meets the neck. Now what we do is we start a nice, smooth, steady, deep breath to facilitate the action of the bouncing of the brain down into the body. And we're going to do 2 full complete breath cycles while we're tapping on top of the head, getting the brain to pay attention to what we're tapping for, which is to bring balance to both hemispheres of the brain. And then we're going to be tapping over the heart center, over the sternum. Now the sternum and the heart center, this is to memorize this intention, to bring memory to the fact that we're balancing both hemispheres of the brain. So we're tapping again on the heart and over the head to make sure that we're covering 2 breath cycles. Now what I like to tell people to do is to put your index finger where your pinky was. We want to make sure that we get every portion of the brain, both sides, and then we keep that smooth, steady, deep breath going and tapping over the head and over the heart. Now one of the other things that we're doing is we're actually balancing out what they call cold spots in the brain. And the cold spots in the brain are places that have come out of balance in the body. We move to the next area right here, bringing again the index finger to where the pinky was and tapping again 2 full breath cycles. Now those cold spots, this has been shown to actually bring warmth, which is more neural connectivity to the brain in the areas that have been found to not have activity. And so when we're bringing the brain into balance and we're warming those cold spots, we're also warming the adjacent parts of the body. Now bringing this to the next section. And it's okay to tap on top of the hand. In fact, in some parts of the world you can't even directly tap on someone's body. So just having the intention and tapping over the head like this can be enough. And tapping over the chest like this without actually touching it can be enough to send that signal to the body that it needs to bring the brain and body back into balance. The last area will be right over the forehead. This is the frontal lobe of the brain, and you want to see that my pinky is actually just about touching my eyebrows. And again, we breathe, keeping that smooth, steady, deep breath going, facilitating the movement and the warmth of the brain down into the body, getting the heart to remember our intention. And the last position is the temporal region of the brain. So we're going to place our hands on the sides of the head, and then we lift one of our hands and we tap on the top of the head and tapping over the heart complex. And notice when I'm tapping with my hands that I have my fingers spread to make sure that I'm covering this midline. I'm tapping right on top of the head, both sides of the brain. Sometimes what I like to do too is I like to put my hand on this side of my head and tap with my other hand, just to make sure that I am telling the brain how important it is that we balance both sides of the temporal region of the brain. Okay, I think that should about cover it. Thank you very much.